All right, welcome back to the Central Valley Buzz, everybody. I'm your host, Chuck Leonard. Billy,
Yes.
let's bring in Mr. Michael Bogart. Hello, sir.
Hey,
How
Chuck.
you doing? What's happening?
Like your haircut.
Well, thank you
That's
very
nice.
much. Coming from you, that means a lot.
Yeah, I know. I still have some up here, but I'm
I did it
losing
for my
fast.
Halloween costume, but I'm telling you, I'm getting so many compliments on it. You know, I had a girl come up to me yesterday and tell me that haircut makes you look younger. I may never grow it out.
Don't grow it out, Chuck. I think you're looking good, styling. Yeah,
Thanks.
I wanted to follow up a little bit on what Mike Reynolds had to say. Of course, you know, Mike Reynolds has been beating the drum against Prop 57 for a long time, and I agree heartily with him that we should vote no on it. But, you know, my whole thing is how Christian faith relates to issues in the 21st century. And, you know, the election this week is the biggest issue, I think, that our country's facing. And so I wanted to talk about what the Bible has to say about voting, because it doesn't really envision.
Does it talk about
Not
voting?
really. You know,
Did they have elections back then?
the New Testament was written during a time when the Roman Empire was functioning. People didn't have a choice. You got the emperor that you got, you know, through revolution or through, you know, the army would set somebody on the throne or whatever. And there's a couple places. I mean, 1 Timothy says we ought to pray for our leaders, that it's our duty as Christians, anyway, for the Christians to pray for their leaders. And Romans chapter 13 talks about the function of government, that it's there to, you know, establish law and order, to punish evildoers. You know, there's a whole thing in Romans 13 about that, and that Christians ought to respect the law because it's for everybody's public good. So since the Bible doesn't really talk about a situation where people have a democratic right to vote, you have to use the principles that you get from these other passages to understand how you respond to a situation like we have. We have the privilege of electing our leaders. And because of that, we ought to, you know, use that opportunity, not only pray for them, but to exercise our ability to look at the issues, look at the candidates, and make a good selection.
You've been praying for these candidates?
Of course I have.
You've been praying for Trump?
I pray for Trump. I pray for Hillary. Well, you know, that's my job. That's my duty to do that. Yeah. Yeah, because if they become president, either one of them, there's a lot riding on what they have, their decisions, their policies, the people that they put in power.
Who's the Christian community? Who are they voting for?
Well, the Christian community, that's an interesting statement, because the Christian there is no such thing as a Christian community when it comes to politics. I mean, minority groups, Christians in the minority groups tend to vote Democratic. Christians in the, you know, the white, you know, whatever you call us, tend to vote Republican, you know. So that's, you know, but there is no Christian voice when it comes to politics in the United States. So, you know, does that answer your question?
Not at all, but thanks.
Well, that's the reality of it, you know. And but I think what I would like to urge people to do, here we've got less than a week till the election, and what I would like to urge people, and especially the Christians in your audience, to do is to look at the candidates, decide who's going to live up to the Romans 13 model of, you know, establishing public safety and law and order. Who can you trust? And then vote for that person. That's all you can do in this election. Then when it comes,
Probably the best advice I've heard all year.
Right. I'm glad you think so. Then you know, you go down the line to U.S. Senator, U.S. Congress, you know, state assembly, all the other
Mayor.
Yeah, all those offices, plus all the propositions, which is there like 12 or 14 propositions, something like that? Yeah, you know, and some of those propositions, the wording is so confusing on them. I mean, you know, you read it and you go, I have no idea how to vote on something like that. Now that wasn't fair, Billy.
Ooh, Billy!
But I have
you up a little bit there.
I have the answer to the Bible confusion.
Billy throws the segue in this week.
Billy, this week, Billy gets the prize.
He's on it.
But let me just finish what I was saying about politics. I think you have to really survey the issue, look at who's behind the propositions if you can, and then vote accordingly, just like Mike Reynolds was saying. So
I've heard a lot of confusing propositions in my time.
Well, I'm sure you have. But since Billy brought up this business about the Bible being confusing, if that's a problem, I have this book called...
The Bible's written at what grade level here?
Yeah. Well, it depends on what translation you use. King James is 11th grade English.
There's your problem.
I know.
But we've got the Living Bible, which is 5th grade, Billy. Oh. So there you go.
With pictures?
Gotta buy a year.
If you want pictures, you got to go Good News. But anyway, 45-minute Bible helps navigate some of the cultural issues that go along with reading the Bible. I'd highly recommend it. The first person that emails me at mike at aspectministries.com, I will send them a very free copy.
And this goes to the whole Bible.
Yes, it does.
Not just the New Testament.
That's
It's
the whole Bible.
The Old Testament also. And they're frequently asked questions, the facts.
That's right.
Really? What, give me a frequently asked question.
Well, people will say, does science disprove the Bible? That's a big one that people are always talking about. I try to answer that question as much as I can. And, I try to do it from an academic point of view. Even though I am a Christian leader, I try to do it from a point of view that anybody could read it and say that was helpful. So
Good.
That's what I try to do.
Good. Now you got a whole stack of books. Let's go through them.
Okay. Well, I've got one on, and again, it's fact-based. It's not spun one way or the other. I've checked this out with people in Salt Lake City, and,
I know Mormonism.
I'm not a Mormon myself, but I wrote this, and they said it was fair, so I
Tell me something about Mormonism I don't know, Mike.
Well, it started out in reaction to something called the Second Great Awakening, a big religious movement in the United States, and Mormonism was one of the spin-offs that came out of that.
Oh, I thought they were from Quakers.
Quakers? No, Quakers preceded all of that. Yeah, no, they had nothing to do with the Quakers.
Well, there you go.
I know Jehovah's Witnesses. Again, I've checked this out with people in that organization. They say it's fair.
They want to knock on every door in the world.
Right, exactly. I know the New Age movement. That's something people really struggle with.
This is what Billy does.
And then, of course, understanding Islam. Everybody's thinking about that one way or another, it seems like, and this is, again, fair and balanced. So.
All right. Michael Bogart, 21st Century Faith. You can look him up at aspectministries.com. Remember, the first person that emails him at mike@aspectministries.com gets the free 45-minute Bible. Mike, thanks for coming on.
Always great
good to have you. Thanks a lot. Billy,
you,
thank you. You're sharp.
Yeah,
Hey, we're going to take a quick commercial break. When we come back, live music from Stone Shivers. Stick around.